Hi everybody, good afternoon. How is everybody today? Good? Alright, before I start the class, I'm gonna call attendance. So if you are here, just say here, and that's it, okay? So Miguel Ángel, Mariana, Eduardo, Jesús Antonio, Jonathan, José Eduardo, José Guadalupe, García Solano, Juan Pedro, Gerardo Paul, Colín, Giselín, Rocío, Pamela, Mauricio Cabello, López Aburto, Eva, Arturo Luna, Lorraine, Adrián, Yael, Francisco Mendoza, Jesús Alexander, Ismael, Esteban, Carlos Enrique, Armando, Mayra, Ezequiel, Francisco Alejandro, Eduardo Casas, Luis Fernando Tirado, Raúl Humberto, Zúñiga. No? Okay. Well. Alright. So today we're going to learn object-oriented programming. We were doing a little bit about that to create a connection for a database in Python. Okay, with Python and MongoDB. Okay. So do you remember these three technologies that I was explaining the last class? The objective for today will be that you will understand and you will use the object-oriented programming in Python in order to establish a connection with a database in MongoDB, but with the format of maybe with JSON, okay? With this technology. So, for example, do you remember what is the use of JSON? Do you remember when we created some activities? Well, we created an example like 1 month ago. Do you remember what is JSON for? Giselin? Yes, Giselin.
Okay. It is transport travel the information like a car.
Like a car, yeah. I was giving that example, like a car. We have to transport information, but we transport with Python, right? And we transport in packages, and those packages have a specific format that is with JSON, right? So JSON is the format to transport the information from from the website to the database through Python, but Python is using this format, right? Okay, so today we're going to create that specific, you have to speak in English, okay? Yes. We are recording. Okay, so we're going to create an example about it, and let's start. Just by a chance, did you bring a marker? Do you have a marker somewhere to explain the car thing? No? Because I put it the last class, but if not, so do you remember what is JSON for? Any of you? Giselin, can you tell us what is JSON for?
Yes, JSON is the format to encapsulate or save information of the Python and MongoDB.
Alright. Okay, so just to recap, for example, we have a web form. It will be through Python. Python is the language that we will use to transport information between HTML and Mongo. How do we call this? Do you remember the view? Three layers model. Yeah, this is the view. This is what the user can view. So this is view, This will be called the model. That's why we created a folder that is called models in our PyCharm. Do you remember in our project we created a specific folder called model? And then Python will be the, yeah, or control. Yeah, control. And it's gonna transport the information from the website to the database. Okay? However, the database, as I told you, is not like a table. Okay? It is, how do we call it? Do you remember? A collection. Very good. Very good. Yeah. Okay, so it's a collection. So the collection must have a specific format. And the format that we're going to send it will be called JSON. JSON will be like a small package with a specific format to transport that information. Okay, Python is the car, JSON is the packages that are transported by the car, and the database is the final destination. Okay, got it? All right. So now let's go to program it. Okay. So let's open your last practice on PyCharm. Just as a recap, why do we use PyCharm? Anybody? Paul. What is PyCharm? This program. Why do we use this program?
So we make the code.
Okay, to create the code.
It's right there. We use .py, that is Python.
Okay. So in this case, it's an IDE or an integrated development framework, and it is used to create our final projects. It can include a lot of files in Python. We can include HTML as well. A mix of all of that. All that model can be included in this set of files. Alright? So you have used some before, such as NetBeans, for example. That is for Java. For Python, we're going to use PyCharm. Alright? Okay, very good. In the last class, we created a class that is called post, and the class has specific attributes which are title, content, and author. Alright? We pass this information as a what? How do we call this part? He said well, in the case of like if we create it at the top, these are like attributes. Okay? But when you put it inside of the parentheses, we call them parameters. How do we know that they are parameters? Because in the main application, this is the main application, I gave you the example, like in Java, you have the main class and you create your stuff. We have the parameters over here. For example, the first is title, under the wheel, content, novel, author, Herman Hesse. And actually we modify the content. We put German novel, and when I print the values, the object was modified. So the question in here is, if in post I created my class and I pass the information through parameters and then I put the values over here, how do we call this process when we create an object? Do you remember, Jonathan? Do you remember how do we create those? What is the process of creating an object? This is the class. I pass the parameters and I create the object. How do we call that process? Anyone for an extra credit? Okay, he said he knows, but anybody else? Like, Tirado?
I don't know the word in English.
You don't know the word in English. You know it in Spanish?
I think it's instancia.
All right. We said it in English, instance. Yeah? So we're creating an instance. Alright? We're creating an instance that is creating an object. Okay, you have an extra credit. This is a cognate, so repeat after me. Instance. Instance. Once again. Instance. Instance. Alright, so Adrian, can you say the word again in English? Instance. So it's very close to the word in Spanish, right? Like, actually, I don't know if it's instantiation. It sounds weird, but in the common language through programmers, we say we're creating instances. So it's like that. Okay. So let's talk about this. When I put the values, we call that initializing. When I add the values over here, it's initializing, and in the other way, when we create the object, it's creating instances. Alright? So let's gonna modify a little bit our post class. I'm gonna add 3 parameters. So let's go ahead. The first one will be the ID, because if I wanna create an object and insert it into a table, I need the ID for the object. Okay? So let's create the ID. What else? I have another one. Let me check in my notes. So I have ID. What else? Yeah. I have ID. I have another one that is block ID, because we're creating a block. Block ID and date. Okay? So I'm gonna create date. If you notice, oh, okay, this is the question. Can you see, or do you need like a bigger zoom? Okay. Zoom. Okay, let's zoom. There you go. Like this is fine? Yes. Alright, okay. So, let's put self ID equals to ID self block ID, I made a mistake here, is D equals to block ID. And in this case, I'm going to put self.current date equals to date. In this case, I'm going to explain this in the next class, I'm not putting the same name as in this one, because we're going to use a specific library to get the date from the computer. In Python, we have a library to catch the date of the server, the date of your computer, and put it in our class. But we need to manage it like this one. So we will put current date and then date. So that's it, right? Okay, so next step. If I am putting new values over here, I have to create my instance with these 3 new parameters, correct? Yep. Okay, so I'm going to go back to the application 2, and I'm going to add 3 new parameters. The 3 new parameters are these ones. Alright, is ID. Let's put as an ID. What do you like 0, like 1 maybe? 1, 2, 3. Then the block ID 4, 5, 6. Then the date we're gonna put it as text. So far as text, okay? So let's put October, that is 10, and what? Today is 26, 2016, right? So I'm creating my 3 new parameters, and I'm gonna print the values, right? Okay. So I'm gonna print post2. Look, the new parameters are over here. ID, print post2. Log ID, print post2. What is missing? ID, date. Current. Alright, good. So let's run the application. Boom, boom, boom. I'm running it. And here we go. I have my values over here. German head, German novel, under the wheel, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and the date. Let me ask a question. Do you want me to go back to the class? Could you finish the class, or do you need time? Do you need more time? Yeah, okay. So let me go back to the class and complete the class. And then the instance, I'm going to go back to the instance to complete it, okay? I'm going to give you a couple minutes, right? Yeah.
The order of the parameters doesn't matter.
Yeah, I guess it does matter. Yeah. We have to follow the order. But in this case, you know, because all of those are text, you can put any value in quotations. But yeah, you have to follow the order. Does any of you have mistakes, or could you run the program? Yes? Okay. Right. All right. May I continue, or do you need more time? Who's not finished yet? Who hasn't finished? Okay, so let's continue. All right. So the next step is that I'm gonna create the JSON method. The JSON method will help me to transport the information from the website to the database. So let's gonna create it. Okay. Okay. JSON method to transport with a specific format the information from the website to the database through Python transportation. Imagine, as I was saying, that Python is the car, is my transportation. I'm sending information from here to here with my control, but using a specific format that is called JSON. Okay? So let's create our JSON, alright? So in JSON, we create this method. The method will be called def to define the method. My method will be called JSON, open and close parentheses, and automatically the word self appears Do you remember what is the analogy of self with Java? In Python is self, in Java is this, okay? And this is used for what?
Before object? The
To-
last object?
To update the information of the object. Very good. Alright? Okay, he said, yeah, you're saving my class. Thank you. Okay, so I'm gonna put this. I'm gonna return. So this is the first question. If I have a method without return, is it a method or is it a what?
Function.
A function. Very good. So this is not a JSON method. This is a JSON function because it's returning something. All right. So what is returning? What is it returning? This. It's gonna return the log ID, and we're gonna copy these values as well. Title, but we're gonna use single quotations. Title. Then we're gonna put the attributes that we're passing through our format, okay? And then a comma, alright? Title instead of title, alright? And here I need a space, okay? And then with the rest, content. Why am I doing this? Because this is the format of JSON. JSON says that you have to put the, how do we call this? In the database, for example, title, content, ID, okay, is like the tags of the information that you're gonna send, and in here you're putting the value. But the value is gonna be cached through the constructor, okay? So we pass it like that, and that is the format, okay? So it's content, self-content, comma, and remember, if you're packaging a lot of information, the package has to be like delimited by the braces, okay? These are the braces, and this helps us to delimit all the information that is going to be inside of the package, okay? So it will be content, and then I will use author, and then I put self-author, blah, 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 here, right? And then comma, and then ID, okay, and then log ID, and the last one, current date. You don't have to use it. Oh, in this case, because the database will be ID, only ID, I'll just put ID. And then, oh, no, sorry, it's, yeah, you're right, it's date. Date. Hold on, let me check. No, sorry guys, it's current date. Current date, yeah. Transport information and self current. Good. Yeah, because it's in here in the AutoCAD. Alright? So now I created my function to transport information in JSON. Okay? So the next part is to establish, okay, we'll read this. I already know how to catch this information in object. Now I put the format. Now we have to establish the connections with the database, but with object-oriented programming, okay? So we have to create a new class that is going to be called database, that is going to help us to connect our website through Python to the database in Mongo, okay? So let's go and do that. Have you finished? Sorry. Yeah. Who's not done? Okay, so I will wait a little bit. Right? So, are you ready? Yep. All right. So, let's continue with the class database. So, I will click on models. Do you remember? Models. Okay. So, models. Right-click button. New. Python file. The name, it's going to be called database. Okay? Database. And then I click OK. Right. So now I have a new class over here that is called database. I will put the author. Please put your name, type your name. Right, author, and I'm going to put as a comment the date. Today is October the 26th, 2016, and I'm going to type a brief explanation. This is a class. This is a class to establish connections from the website to a database, to a MongoDB database, through Python. Alright? So this is our class for it, okay? So, if you remember, or if not, don't worry, a classic connection that we did some classes ago, a classic connection was like this. Classic connection. A classic connection was like this. I have to import the library to establish the connection with Mongo. Do you remember what was the name of the library? No, student was the collection. Yeah, PyMongo. Good. PyMongo is the library that we need. Import PyMongo. That was the first step. Then I need the URI or the URL as you wish. And the URL or the URI is the address to establish the connection. And we put MongoDB, then // 127.0.0.1. We call this very common as what? Local host. Very good. Local host, and then we need the port. The port is 27017. Do you remember the port for MySQL? Now, yeah.
It's not necessary create to class database?
Yes. Yes, we're going to create it. But if you see, these are comments. This is not for real yet. This is like the regular way we used to establish connections, but now we're going to transform it in objects. Okay? So this was a classic. Oh, yeah, by the way, for my SQL is 33. 06 for my SQL. If you forgot. Alright? So then I need a client. And my client I call the Mongo library dot Mongo client. And as a parameter I need the URL or the URL. Then what I need is the database, and the database will be client, and our default database in Mongo in localhost. Do you remember the name? Full stack. Full stack. Very good. Full stack, and then the collection. That analogy with the regular databases is the table. But we call this collection. I will be database brackets and then students. That was the name that you gave me before. Students is a collection. Okay. And can you tell me why do we call collections in MongoDB instead of tables? Do you remember how we call? Why? Why do we call in MongoDB collections instead of tables?
Because you can put other or more attributes, or you can put in one line 5 attributes and in another put 2, and it doesn't matter.
In SQL, the attributes, we call them fields. For example, ID, name, and password, and age. As an example. So 1, password 1, 2, 3, age 31. So this is called a row, and this is called a column, right? In SQL, for example, MySQL or Microsoft SQL, whatever, we have a specific number of columns, and we can insert a lot of rows, and that's it. But we have a table because we have a specific number of fields. In the case of NoSQL as Mongo, I have this. For example, my first row has an ID, name, password, and age. And I have my first row like this: 1, 1, 1, 2, 3, 31. But the second row can have more attributes, such as ID, name, password, age, and address. So the ID2 can be Jose, 456, age 30, and address Zaragoza Avenue. 31 Zaragoza Avenue. Alright? And the next field can be only one, can be just ID. and is the ID 3. So I have different sizes of my fields. In MongoDB we can do this one. Why? Because the web is like that. It's very big. It doesn't have like the specific information. It's not ordered. And in this kind of model, we have to order all the information, and we have to specify how many fields we have and how many columns. All right? In this case, it's open. Okay? So that's why we call these collections, because this looks like a table, but this doesn't look like a table. This looks like, I don't know, like bricks or something very different. Actually, I call this in my other class like the Tetris. Have you played Tetris? Yes. Okay. In the Tetris, I have, for example, something like this, then it goes here, right? And then I have another like this, and then I have another piece like this, and it doesn't matter the size, as long as it fits in the collection. So it's like that. In this case, I have 1, 2, 3, 4 fields. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 fields, and it doesn't matter. It fits. Okay? So this is the analogy. MongoDB is like Tetris, and SQL is like a table, right? Okay, that is the analogy that I can tell you. So, all right. So what we're gonna do is okay, one second. What we're gonna do is let's gonna implement this as an object-oriented programming. Okay. All right. The first step is the import. The import is always like the same. Import Mongo. Right. This is the first step. Then I'm gonna, as you said, Requena, I'm gonna create my class. Creating my database class. And as I told you before, the class name I recommended to be with the same name as the file name is. In this case, database, and I have to create my class database as well. So I will put class database, open and close parentheses, and this symbol. What do I have to put in here? Object. Very good. This is a reserved word in Python to create a class. So my second question is, do I have to define the attributes at the beginning of the class in Python?
No.
Not always, right? In this case, I'm going to do it just as an example that you can or not, is as you wish. And I'm going to define attributes, okay? But these attributes will be basic attributes. And I will just need two basic attributes. The URI or URL and the database. I'm going to use that. So I'm going to define those as URI in capitals. Okay. The URI will be the same as this one, the MongoDB. And you make a mistake in here because you put sometimes MongoDB. D is in Spanish, base de datos, but in English is the opposite, is DB, database. Okay? So is DB. And then the local host with the port. And the second one will be the database equals full stack. Well, no, in this case, because I'm going to select it like, I can define it in my class, any database that I want. I will put it like blank, like this, or I can put none. Because when I create my instance, I can put the full stack. But so far, because this is more general, I can put it as blank. Okay? Alright? So, the next part is to define the methods. Okay, I'm gonna define my methods. Define connection methods. Alright? Define connection method. So I'm gonna call it initialize. Def initialize. Okay, def initialize, open and close. I don't need the self. Do you remember when do I need the self? For constructors. For constructors I need the self. In this case it is not necessary. So I'm gonna create it and it will be like this. To initialize I need this part, the client equals by Mongo client. I can copy this by Mongo client. But instead of URE, okay, instead of URE, what I have to put is this URE, because this is my attribute. However, it's marking an error because in Python I have to define which class belongs, well, which to which class this attribute belongs to. So the class is database.url. Right? And now the mistake was gone. Then, what I need to do is to establish the connection with full stack. Okay? So I will put that database but database is this one. The class dot the attribute, as I told you before, equals to client, and in here I put full stack. Okay? So there is a mistake over here. It's expecting self, but I told you that self is for constructors. So how do I solve this? I will put here an at static method. And the mistake is gone. Can you tell me in Java why do we use static methods? Pamela, why do we use static methods in Java?
When the method we are the specific value.
Okay. A method with a specific value.
To own.
No, not like that. So. Jonathan, any idea about what? About what? The question is when, or I mean, why? Why do you use static methods in Java? Have you practiced static methods in Java? Yes. Actually, when you use, for example, NetBeans, they create it automatically in some cases. But do you know why? ¿Requena en ella? Tirado.
The static method doesn't change.
The static method doesn't change. Well, yeah, because it's a method. The thing in here is that the static method can be used globally from any class, from any file, through your project. You force it as use it as global. So let's gonna put it like this. And a static method, the static method helps the method to be accessed globally by any class or file in the project. Okay? So it doesn't matter, for example, in this case, I'm gonna access these methods from the post. I'm gonna access to this class from the post. So these methods will be easily to be accessed. Okay? So that is the use for the static methods. Okay? So let's gonna create the next one. The next one will be the method to insert data. And for this, I'm gonna use this example. Okay? Hold on. I will erase this, okay? I told you some classes ago 3 types of queries: insert, find, and delete. Got it? To insert, I put DB in Mongo. I will put this MongoDB queries. Okay? Is DB then the database? No, the collection. This is the collection. Insert, and then the value. Then to find is the same, DB, then the collection, then the word find, that is the query, and then you can find the object and a specific object, such as I want to find all the names that are Juan, for example. Right? And to delete is the same, DB, students, find, no, it's not find, it's delete, right? Delete or remove? Remove. Remove, then the ID 1, 2, and 3. Alright? So, what is changing, guys? Does this change? No, right? This is the database. That is full stack, right? Then I have a collection. Then this is the thing that is changing, right? And in some cases, the parameters, I have 2, I have 2, I have 2. Do you see the connection of these parameters with the JSON? I will go back. I will go back. Oh, no, there's the post. Okay. Do you see some relationship between this and this? Yep. Okay. Name. It's like the same, guys. The format is the same in Mongo and in JSON. Now they are related. The thing here is that this is not a static, it's not one. This is something that you're gonna type in a box. It can be Jose, it can be Pepe, it can be whatever, as long as it's the author, right? So this is the same as this one, but this is static and this is dynamic, alright? This is get from a box, from a website, from a form, and this is a static one. We were working with static files, but now we're going to work with dynamic ones, with dynamic information, okay? So it's like that. So now let's gonna create it in here. Alright. Alright, in the database. Good. So let's gonna do it. So it will be like this. So I have I will put it like this. I will create as well a static method. Static method. I will define my my query as insert. Okay. And I will use two parameters. Okay? I need two parameters in this case. It will be the collection, because this can change. It can be students, plants, cars, whatever. And I will need the specific query. So I need this, the collection, and I need the data that is going to be inserted. Alright? So I will use two parameters, and those parameters will be the collection, and it will be the data we're going to insert. Okay? Insert the data. So, as I told you, the regular basis is DB students insert ID one, two, three, and name Juan. That is the basic. However, in object-oriented programming will be DB is this one, the database, full stack. Remember? Full stack. Okay. And then I need to select the collection dot insert open and close parentheses, and I will insert the data that I need. So that is the change that we have to do. If we want to create it like dynamically. Okay? Let's gonna create our second method. Method to find data. Again, it will be a static method. Def find. I'm gonna define def find, and I need two parameters as well, collection, but in this case it's not now data, it will be the query. You can put data as well, but in database when we find something we establish the query, and it's like the same, guys. Is database collection, but this is not inside. What will be, guys, in here? On find query. Alright. And now I'm gonna create another one. This is a new for you method to find one single row. It's again a static method. Def find collection query. But I'm gonna just find one single object, one single row. This is the new. In this one, if I find 20 names, they will be displayed, 20 names. In this one, if I want 20 names, it's gonna display the first one. Okay? Alright? Find one query. So, I already create my class for establish the connection in the database, but I need to link this file with the post file. This is Python, this is for Mongo. How do I link them? First of all, I have to import the class. So before I import it, have you finished?
No, I
Don't sleep, I'm almost done.
Yes.
I'm almost done, okay? 5 minutes. Come on, we're gonna make it.
Yes. Continue.
Alright. Okay, so I will go back to my class post and I have to import the class database. How do I import the class database? Can you tell me how? Do you remember?
From database import.
From folder models dot file database import the class that I told you that is database. That is why I told you that it must be with the same name, class and file, so you won't make a mistake. Okay? And then I'm gonna create. Oh, did you finish with this one? No? Okay. I'll give you a couple minutes. A minute per hour. Okay. So then I will go before JSON. and I will define a method, or it can be over here as well. Here. Method to link database insert in post class. Okay, and it will be like this. It's just 3 lines, guys, and I'm finished. It will be def save to Mongo, open and close, enter. Database, I'm gonna connect with the database dot insert. Insert, and I need 2 parameters, collection and data. Collection and data. The collection equals to the database, the collection that we're going to create. At the beginning was students, remember? Yes? The collection. In this case, for this practice, we're going to create a new one that will be called post. We're going to create a new collection that will be called post. And the data, where I'm going to take the data from, guys? From here. Because this is going to catch the information from the website, so I will put self.json. Self.json. And voila, that's it. So if I want to insert, it's going to get from the website, it's going to convert it into an object with the format in JSON, and then it's going to establish a connection with Mongo, and it's going to insert it. Okay? What is the homework for you? The homework for you is to create the method to delete. I haven't done this. You have to create the method to delete information and implement it in this file. Okay? And the other homework, homework is create the delete and the lesson 34 from Udemy. In the lesson 34 from Udemy, you're gonna implement automatic IDs. Okay? Alright? So to review this activity, how do I know if it's correct? It's correct if there is a mistake in database. How do I know there is no mistake? Because if you don't import the class properly, for example, if I don't put this, I will see a mistake in this line. Look. Hold on. You see? This is a mistake because I'm not importing. So I will take it away. Importing that. Okay. Alright? So thank you guys. Let me put the Zoom. Where is the Zoom? So you can continue. Alright? So if you haven't finished, okay, continue with this. I'm going to review that. But before I review, as a conclusion, I will ask you a couple of questions. So, Requena, why do I need JSON? Why do I need JSON format? JSON formats are these ones. Why do I need to implement this? JSON. Do you remember the car, the package, blah, 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 blah? No? Yes, Celine?
I need to enter dynamic data.
Okay, I need to insert the dynamic data, and JSON is going to help me to give the format to the information before it goes to Mongo. Okay? And Mongo, in this case, Pamela, before we leave, in Mongo, in this case, for example, what does this mean? Database dot database.
The first database is the name of the full stack.
Okay, this part, database, we define it as full stack. However, in Python, we need to put the name of the class first and then the name of the variable. Your variable is database. And at the beginning is none, and then it's full stack. You are correct. However, for example, in Java, you just have to put this, and this is the variable. But in Python, it marks a mistake. You have to put the name of the class dot the name of the variable. And then the error is just deleted. Okay? That's it, guys. Thank you. Have a nice day. Bye-bye.
Bye.